Hello, Review Cock USA here. Recently it has come to my attention that Richard Masucci of Review Tech USA has expressed wishes to purchase a firearm in the near future.
I don't want to take away your guns. As a matter of fact, over this summer, I'm planning on purchasing a firearm. So why the hell would I want to take your guns? Why would I want guns to be straight out banned if I want to purchase one?
Upon hearing this news, I immediately became concerned, as Richard's history suggests disaster if a gun were to be placed in his hands. The first thing to come to mind was Rich's previous statements on his mental illness. You see, Rich has admitted to suffering from psychological disorders, specifically anxiety and depression, as shown here.
I got hit with the worst case of anxiety and depression that I may have to this day ever had. I've never been in that much of a rut. I mean, I got to the point where I couldn't get out of bed to take a piss without having a panic attack. It was that bad. And I just remember leaving those interviews being so depressed, and my anxiety just like getting to the point where I was shaking, and just it was almost like an antidepressant playing Halo, you know, because when you would deal with all these real world problems and think of how much my life was a mess, and I would think, man, my life is totally terrible right now. And then I would sit down with the controller, I would put on my headset, I would talk to friends online, especially that one friend that I just mentioned before that I won't say his name. And all that went away. I could be on the brink of having a terrible panic attack, and as soon as I would put on Halo, I would feel my anxiety decrease. This game that saved me from losing my mind. I remember there were points that I was on the brink of thinking that I was going to have to go to a psychiatric hospital. I'm not kidding. I'm not exaggerating. It was that bad. I was pacing around in my living room, not knowing what to do because I just felt like the walls were closing in on me. And then I would get in front of Halo and that feeling would go away. I would get in front of Halo 3 and it gave me a sense of comfort that nothing else could do.
Rich has admitted in the past he had mental problems. See for yourself.
I personally suffered from depression myself when I got laid off from my job in 2009. I sought therapy. I actually got medicated, and it helped a lot. I've been through it. I understand where he's coming from. I understand that even having a positive attitude, life can still throw curveballs your way.
What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? This is Rich of RLM Corp. A job where I was working a night shift. I was a night manager at a job. And I have a generalized anxiety disorder, and working that night shift made my anxiety go through the roof. Driving home when the sun was coming.
So, this man who struggled to handle the so-called stresses of day-to-day life now believes he is capable of owning a gun. Again, this is a man who suffered debilitating panic attacks due to post-job interview anxiety, something that most people can handle without losing their mind. Yet he now believes he should be the one responsible for handling a lethal weapon. I do not know if Rich is planning on purchasing a firearm for self-defense or just recreation, but here is a news flash for everyone. If you need to make a split-second decision, but you're suffering from an anxiety attack, you cannot simply run away to a video game to quote-unquote leave real-world issues behind. There is no way in hell that a man who was on the brink of being admitted to a psychiatric institution because he couldn't handle being unemployed should be allowed access to a gun. Richard is a mentally unstable person who cannot be trusted with such lethal force. This leads me to my next point. Rich's inability to control his anger and impulsive outlashes being a red flag to gun ownership. Because Rich has a history of mental illness, he is prone to experiencing panic attacks and emotional outbursts if the right stimulus is given. Unfortunately for Richard, he has experienced multiple instances throughout his time on YouTube where he allows the most minor of issues to affect his public behavior. He tends to make his decisions on emotional impulses and whims rather than through a rational thought process. Whether it be frequently deleting tweets from his Twitter page or deleting videos from his channel, Rich can never seem to make up his mind. He is indecisive and irrational. Two characteristics no responsible gun owner should have. Let's look at some of the times Rich has let his emotions get the better of him. Example 1. Rich's anger outbursts. Rich has had frequent outbursts of anger, often directed at individuals he does not like. Rich has even threatened to do bodily harm on his critics as seen during this outburst here.
Hey RTU critic, let's settle our differences like men. This summer, let's have a boxing match between you and I and have it set up by Keemstar. You got such an issue with me, man. You got such beef with me. Let's settle it in the ring. Oh, and by the way, if you don't come through and he actually sets up the match, you're a pussy, because I'm going to legally fuck you up in there.
You want attention, dude? You got it, man. You're on stage right now. Oh, I don't want to go in the ring with you because I don't want you to die. Shut the fuck up, man. Get in the goddamn ring with me. You fucking coward. All of a sudden shit's getting real. And I would put you in the hospital, Rich, but I'm too busy. I don't want to be responsible for your death. Give me a break. You're such a coward.
Oh, he's already making excuses. I won't last in a boxing ring even though I just ran fucking an hour on the elliptical. Come on, dude. And it'll be over the summer. I'm gonna train in between then. Come on, fully legal, all expenses will be paid for. You can handle your grievances with me like a real man, not a pussy behind a keyboard. Make it happen, because right now I'm putting you on blast and everyone sees how much of a fucking coward you are. Get in the ring, man. Get in the ring, man. Get in the ring, man.
So clearly Rich resorts to violence to sort out grievances with other parties rather than through more civilized and mature means. These clips show just how hate and anger-filled Rich really is. It is frightening to think about what he could do with a gun during one of his anxiety attacks or anger outbursts.
We can't just close our ears and go, la 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 la, mental health, no big deal, because honestly it is. And we see it with situations like what happened at YouTube. And maybe if we take mental health more seriously, we could also mitigate these tragedies. Combined, maybe we could stop a lot of these mass shootings. Because here's the reality of it. I think many of you, I don't care what side of politics you're on, can agree with this. Do happy people pull the triggers of guns? 99.9999% of the time, no they don't. It's people that are unhappy. This is why I never want to have tenants. See all this here? See all that? All that shit is not, minus the boxes there in the corner. All this shit is from previous people that lived here. And now I have to deal with it. It's what I've been doing. Unreal, man. This is why I never want to be a landlord. Unfucking believable. It's people that are unhappy.
Now the fucking brake light's on! The brake light's on! Just got the car back today! Now the brake light's on! It's telling me it needs work! I'm done! I'm done!
It's people that are unhappy.
You want to tell fucking adults what they can do with their money now? And you know what's funny too? I know what the lame excuse will be. Well, parents may buy it for their kids. Well, those parents are fucking idiots!
I could have put a fucking down payment on a brand new X5 for how much I spent on this thing. Here I'm thinking I'm saving money putting some work into an old car. What a mistake, man. God damn. You can handle your grievances with me like a real man, not a pussy behind a keyboard. Make it happen, because right now I'm putting you on blast and everyone sees how much of a fucking coward you are. Get in the ring, man.
It's people that are mentally unwell.
Now, before I give you my take on all this, and I just need a second to fuck!
But actually, I'm just a really big pussy and I don't want them to hear my voice because I'm scared.
It's people that are mentally unwell.
Ooh, yeah.
It's people that are mentally unwell. I don't know, man, but you seem that you are such a fucking loser faggot that you come on here all the fucking time. And it's annoying. Look at the rest of the mass shootings out there. Look at the other mass shooting suspects. Did they seem happy? Did they seem mentally healthy? No, not at all. Anger, hatred, and mental illness are just as dangerous as a firearm. If we address the issues of what's causing people to suffer first, they may not want to go out and cause that mass shooting. Anger, hatred, and mental illness are just as dangerous as a firearm. Anger,
get in the ring, man.
Hatred, you are such a fucking loser faggot, and mental illness.
I personally suffer from depression myself. I actually got medicated.
Just as dangerous as a firearm. Just as dangerous as a firearm. Just as dangerous as a firearm.
Well, it would seem that Rich himself explained why people like him shouldn't be allowed access to firearms. I'd like to take this moment to establish the criteria for being a safe, responsible gun owner and determine whether Richard meets these standards. I think that most people can agree that only emotionally and mentally mature adults should be in the possession of a firearm. Like I mentioned earlier, handling a gun requires a sound decision-making process and the ability to handle stress. When not in use, a gun must be properly stored and maintained, which in itself requires self-discipline and an adherence to routine. Only an emotionally mature adult is capable of doing these things. What makes an emotionally mature adult, you ask? Well, according to a Psychology.com article by Dr. Robert Firestone, there are 6 aspects of being an adult. Let's take a look at these clauses and see if Rich meets any of them. Rationality. Adults experience their emotions, but when it comes to their actions, they make rational decisions on the basis of self-interest and moral concerns. As Murray Bowen observed, adults are able to distinguish between the feeling process and the intellectual process and have the ability to choose between having one's functioning guided by feelings or by thoughts. They have a strong sense of identity and strive to live with integrity, according to their own principles and values. Well, let's see here. We already went over how Rich has had many instances where his emotions fuel his angry rants and outbursts. So let's focus on determining whether Rich has a strong sense of identity and strives to live with integrity. I would say that Rich certainly has zero integrity, as he has scammed and backstabbed several people throughout his time on YouTube. I will include a few short clips of some of Rich's most infamous incidents where he demonstrated his lack of moral character.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you own a business or a brand, make sure that every business transaction you do is in contract. Don't mess up like I did. Let me be an example of why you don't do business by word of mouth. Always do contracts. Here's my story. Man, I tell you, I never thought that this day was coming. Like, honestly, I didn't. I had no problem with this guy at all. I supported his channel. I appreciated everything that he has done for me as far as my YouTube channel. There was no problems with this guy until money was involved. People been asking and asking and asking and asking.
How much you pay him to advertise your channel? How do you know Review Tech? Are you guys friends?
Well, I'm going to give you an answer now. This relationship or business relationship between me and Rich from Review Tech USA, there's no more business. There's no relationship. There's no partnership. There's nothing. I'm gonna tell you why. He decided, since he owes me money, that he wants to try and belittle me, try me, and hustle me out of the computers that I sent him. He's an emotional victim from past sponsorships that had dropped him because of his unprofessionalism. He's unprofessional. He doesn't do business well. If it involves money, he doesn't want to do anything with it. He will use his numbers as far as YouTube to try and walk his way out of money, because when it came to money, he didn't want to pay up.
I'm going to tell you about Rich, all right, and the kind of guy Rich is, because I'm sorry, but Rich is the kind of guy who, in real life, I would never, ever want to have an association with this fucking guy. Basically, Rich is the kind of guy who, he's the high school jock who never grew up, right? He's the guy who just doesn't get reality. Like, to him, he thinks that it's totally cool to do all that stupid kiddie shit, and to make because he makes money off of it, so why would he care, right? No matter who it hurts, no matter what happens with what he does, as long as he benefits from it, he doesn't give a fuck. And he's also one of those fair weather people where at some points he'll stick up for you, and then all of a sudden he'll stab you in the back. He's back to making drama shit. Look at, oh my god, he's looking at Social Blade. Oh my god, look at Phil's views on YouTube, they're down. He's gonna go out of business. What is his fucking business anyway? He doesn't know how much money I'm making. He doesn't know anything about anything. Yeah, here he is talking shit like I'm gonna go out of business. I'm doing horrible at business. It's none of his business, but he loves to do that. He loves to drop drama and shit to get people to come see his stuff. The more negativity he can stir up, the better, because then he can get more attention for himself.
Clause 2 from the Psychology.com article. Formulating and implementing goals. Adults formulate goals and take the appropriate actions to achieve them. In this respect, they establish their priorities in life. In contrast, people living within a child's frame of reference often overreact emotionally to events that are insignificant in the overall scheme of their lives, and fail to respond to events that are important or crucial to their well-being. Because adults tend to pursue their goals and priorities honestly, their actions are more likely to correspond to their words. Rich definitely does not meet this clause, as he frequently makes empty promises to better himself and his channel. He often overreacts when his sub count and Patreon numbers begin to dwindle and makes extravagant promises to his fans, yet he never delivers on them. For example, Rich promised at the beginning of January 2018 to host exclusive live streams for his donors. By March's end he was going against his initial promise and only decided to go ahead with them after he was exposed by Anna Doyle for being a scam artist.
Okay, my Patreon has stayed at over $1,000. It's time to award my supporters with the patron-only stream I promised. More details to follow this week.
January 14th, 2018, Rich makes his first Patreon stream promise.
With the stream, guys, in terms of doing like an exclusive stream for patrons, I don't know if, I know I put that on there. I don't know if I want to do that because I feel like I just feel like I'm being unfair to the rest of my subscribers, you know, and
January 14th, 2018, Rich makes his first Patreon stream promise.
March 17th, 2018. Rich considers canceling the streams.
Other instances where Rich has made false commitments to goals include his 2016 promise to lose weight within the year. Rich never kept his word and continued to stay obese.
Stop making the excuses and do the same thing. I'm changing things. Today is May 24th, 2016. A year from now, you're going to see a much different me. May 24th, 2016. A year from now, you're going to see a much different me. A year from now, you're going to see a much different me. A year from now, you're going to see a much different me.
I've avoided a Patreon because Patreons start drama. But I'll be back in a minute. But that may change, though. I'm not sure yet. It may change. Yes, I love Metro Last Light. I'll be right back. Give me about a minute and a half, guys. Oh, my ears are like 10 degrees cooler now.
The third clause for adulthood discusses equality in relationships. Unfortunately, we do not know too much about Rich on this topic, so we will move on to the fourth clause, active versus passive. Adults are proactive and self-assertive, rather than passive and dependent. They don't feel victimized by life or complain or dump their problems onto other people. Instead, they face their problems or challenges directly and work out solutions rather than depending on others for direction. They seek help only in relation to what they actually need, as in areas where they lack expertise, not in relation to unresolved emotional needs from the past. This is by far one of the biggest indicators that Rich is not an adult. Every time his channel grows stagnant,
I leave that up to you. It is your choice. And again, it's not that I'm going to quit if I don't get the support on Patreon. It'll just let me know at this point. Maybe it's time to do something different on YouTube and take my channel to a different direction. But if you guys do want to continue to see this content, then you will support the Patreon. And I don't have to worry about this nonsense anymore. I could upload what I want to and not think about what I'm uploading. So the choice is yours. And that's not a rhetorical thing that I'm saying right there. I mean that. Let me know what you think, and if I get the support, great. If not, that's also fine. That just lets me know it's time to do something different.
He runs to his viewers for help with his channel rather than figuring it out for himself. He depends on his sheep for direction all the damn time. Rich dumps his problems on his viewers to gain sympathy points.
This is why I never want to have tenants. See all this here? See all that? All that shit is not, minus the boxes there in the corner. All this shit is from previous people that lived here. And now I have to deal with it. It's what I've been doing. Unreal, man. This is why I never want to be a landlord. Unfucking believable. I could have put a fucking down payment on a brand new X5 for how much I spent on this thing. Here I'm thinking I'm saving money putting some work into an old car. What a mistake, man. God damn.
Clause number 5 of adulthood. Non-defensiveness and openness. People who are emotionally mature do not have defensive or angry reactions to feedback. They do not offhandedly disagree with negative commentary. Instead, they are open to exploring new ideas, welcome constructive criticism, and, in this way, they expand their self-knowledge and self-awareness. Adults seek self-knowledge to know themselves and develop an accurate self-concept. They are aware of both the positive and negative aspects of their personalities and have a realistic perspective of themselves in relation to others. In their pursuit of self-knowledge, they are aware of unconscious motivation, open to the analysis of that dimension of mental life and attempt to integrate it to the best of their ability. Again, Rich fails this task. Whenever anybody criticizes Rich, he immediately responds with outlash and anger rather than actually listening to what the other person has to say and trying to improve on his flaws. Killer Comedy Unleashed is one channel that makes videos critiquing Rich. Rich has responded to these videos with anger and hate and fails to see his own flaws, a complete lack of self-awareness.
Take a good look at that. So let me get this straight. Rich cries when he gets doxxed, but likes it when it happens to other people. What a hypocritical piece of shit, is what this person wrote on Twitter. And look, there's Review Tech USA himself on Twitter with 50 retweets and 136 likes. And he's given out the state that I live in, right next to police. That's covered up. He also gives out my last name right next to my first name. So he's just given out my information so that people can then get on the internet and go look for me. That's awesome, Rich. You're a really high-class guy, aren't you? Let's just let that sink in for everybody. That's somebody right there that has over 600,000 plus subscribers on YouTube.
The final clause of adulthood. Personal power. People do not have control over their thoughts and feelings. These arise unbidden in the course of everyday life. However, adults take full power over every part of their conscious existence. Indeed, they change any behavior or characteristic that they dislike in themselves, such as being overweight or abusing substances. In this sense, adults approach their lives from the standpoint of being responsible for their destiny. This is pretty clear-cut. Rich has stated that he wishes to lose weight, but continually fails to do so. Rich lacks any personal power. So in conclusion, Rich has stated that he wishes to purchase a gun. I have provided the evidence as to why Rich is not an emotionally mature adult and should not have access to a firearm, as he could pose a threat to himself or others. I have brought up Rich's mental illness and his vulnerability to his emotions and anger outbursts. I have demonstrated just how anger and hate-filled he really is, not all that different from the other mass shooting suspects. Rich is irresponsible, immature, mentally ill, and overall a horrible candidate for gun ownership. Please, State of New York, do not let this man have access to a gun. If you agree that the State of New York shouldn't let Rich purchase a gun, be sure to sign the petition link down below in the description of this video. Thank you for watching.